Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is Laughin' Games here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 cast. And it's not just a Starcraft 2 cast, it's a Starcraft 2 2v2 cast. So that's a mouthful, but we have got some very exciting games for you today. It's gonna be a best of 3 from Euthermal's 2v2 Cup. And it's one that I'm very excited to cast, as we've got the Liquid Boys, well, two of the Liquid Boys, there's quite a few of them, is Liquid Elazer and Liquid-SKillous. Elazer with the clan tag and Liquid in his name, so he's double Liquid, whatever that means. But yes, we've got SKillous, who is a Protoss player teaming up with Elazer, a Zerg player who, well, we'll actually be playing in one of my tournaments come this weekend, and I guess this will be up on the channel before then. So he's going to be playing in the Soup Starcraft Global, so good to see him. And then we have got MaxPax alongside Spirit, who will also be playing in our tournament this weekend, so make sure to check that out, join the Discord, and get linked to whenever we go live on Soup. I'll make sure to do a ping in the Discord, so that's the best place for that. Also, leave a comment down below for these longer 2v2 series. They do take a bit of time to cast, so a like and comment is appreciated. And if we can hit, let's say, 10 likes on this video, that would be amazing for the new channel starting out. And then, yeah, just leave a comment saying more 2v2, potato, let me know what race is the most OP, that kind of thing. We've got players pinging all over the place as both teams go for a probe scout. I don't know what it is about Protoss. It seems that in these 2v2 games, it's always the toss that goes for the scout. The Terrans are like, nope, I'll make a Reaper, but I'm not sending an early SCV, which I guess makes sense because probes have the shield that regens. So that's just makes them a little more of a versatile scout. Looks like Spirit does almost catch the scout of SKillous, however the probe is taking the long way around, gonna go in, see the command center building. And so a nice juke by SKillous in order to get that probe on in. And I'm not sure if I mentioned before, but this is a best of 3 for 2v2. So it's going to be a full series. Look at this. SKillous pulls off a very dirty block. Spirit flipping his tech structures around. Something that Terran is usually more careful for. Usually has a high ground wall off to prevent that kind of thing. But Spirit, maybe in the essence of 2v2, got a little careless. And now, oh man, Spirit totally has his build messed up because there is a pylon blocking his structure. That was such a slick move by SKillous. Gonna mess with one of his opponents. Now MaxPax is like, oh man, our plan's really messed up, so maybe they're both getting a little thrown off. It's not gonna take that long to clean the pylon up, but it definitely will mess with the build of Spirit. So really, really nicely done. Terrible pathing on that SCV as it was going to build that supply depot, and then it somehow got hung up on that pylon, I think. But yeah, Elazer and SKillous kind of have to be laughing amongst themselves about that one. They're probably laughing because it happened to Spirit. He's a bit of a... He's a player who does get... Not like the most emotional, he doesn't BM or anything like that, but he does let it be known that when things go badly. So I feel like if something like that comically was to happen, of course it would happen to Spirit. And so we'll see whether they can maybe turn the laughs around as MaxPax does move in with this Oracle. And looks like MaxPax is going into Phoenix behind this. Looks like SKillous, though, just electing to go for Blink. It seems that most Protoss players kind of have an understanding to not mess with MaxPax in Phoenix versus Phoenix. It's just, he's so darn good at it. And oh my gosh, the Elazer really clumps up all his drones, does a beautiful drone drill to get damage done to MaxPax's workers, but that is quite scary. The Oracle then goes into the main base of SKillous, causing problems. A Queen cleans that up. Let's check the units loss tab. All in all, Elazer did lose 7 drones to the Adepts, to the Hellion, maybe to the Oracle there, but so that's quite a bit of damage getting done to poor Elazer. I think it must have mostly been those Adepts, so that is a lot of damage done. Elazer does have quite a few roaches building behind this. He does not have roach speed, so it looks like it's going to be a Blink Stalker roach attack for Elazer and SKillous. Gonna try and coordinate and get a killer attack off on their opponent. I believe that was a probe to build a pylon for SKillous. That may be making MaxPax-Spirit a little on edge. They may be thinking, oh man, are we going to be facing DTs? And it looks like that MaxPax just building Phoenix, the red team could be a little bit vulnerable here. There's a bunker and a bat or a stasis ward on the high ground, multiple tanks for Spirit, so it is quite a nice defensive setup for the Terran. We'll see whether they're going to be able to defend, though. There's Lings flooding on in, and SKillous can always warp in more Stalkers. The stasis ward is taken care of. They are just committing on up this ramp. They know how high stakes it is, although it looks like they're actually just changing their mind. Corrosive Bile trying to kill off a Phoenix. The Stalkers are coming in for SKillous. However, it does take a few warpins to really hit that killer count, and it looks like MaxPax is really just lifting up the Stalkers. Corrosive Bile's trying to kill off the Phoenix. That's when you know you're in dire straits. More Stalkers do blink on in to help clean that up. Then all in all, MaxPax-Spirit have done a great job delaying this push. The second bunker is a nice touch by Spirit. Look at all these batteries going up for MaxPax. Pardon me, not batteries, cannons for the Protoss, which makes sense seeing as how he does mainly just have Phoenix in order to respond to this, as SKillous and Elazer are just gonna try and make this work, and they are moving on in. Lots of Ravagers, Corrosive Biling down the tank, Stalkers blinking in to kill off the other ones, so all the tanks are gone, so it's really just whatever's in the bunkers with the mass repair to handle this, although the mass repair is difficult to pull off when Ravagers are raining down Corrosive Bile. That's exactly what they're doing. SCVs have to be pulled en masse to support the bunkers. As long as there's just a couple Ravagers to drop Corrosive Biles, though, they do such a good job forcing SCVs off the bunker. Spirit does have that second bunker, though, which is so darn important for him, but there's still more Corrosive Bile to go down. Elazer's Ravagers are really getting a lot of work done. Now, Spirit lost many SCVs, but the red team is not broken yet. There is so many Phoenix present for MaxPax. He just lifts up all the Ravagers, knowing that they're the problematic units for their team, and the Phoenix of MaxPax are just getting so much work done. It seems the all-in may have failed for the blue team, so Elazer is just going to type on out. SKillous types out. They know their Hail Mary attack failed. And so MaxPax-Spirit are going to take game number 1, which means we'll be loading on into the next match here. It's going to be more of the same. MaxPax-Spirit taking on SKillous and Elazer. It is good to see Elazer playing in this cup because Zerg does have a hard time in 2v2. So it's always cool to see. And that was quite a lethal attack by the red team. So I really got to give them credit where credit is due for trying that. And now we'll see whether they're going to cook something up similar or what. I mean, the alternative to going for aggression is just to try and macro it out, which could be an option. It's just very difficult for Zerg to defend in 2v2. Like, Zerg is the race that gets harassed the most probably in Starcraft 2. I mean, maybe Protoss in TVP, but anyway. It's going to be a bit difficult for Elazer, and maybe that's because 2v2 isn't as flushed out. Once, say, pro players played some more 2v2, they might be more familiar with the potential aggression they can face, so they could better prepare for it, and then you get this whole meta developing. Now, let's see, we have got the racks going on up for MaxPax-Spirit. That wall is something that SKillous and Elazer cannot have. You'll have to forgive me, a little bit of a sneeze there, which is not something that needs to be caught in a video. And let's see, we have got Elazer, got his pool on the way, already got the hatch up. SKillous going for the Nexus, MaxPax going for the Nexus. The Protoss players are both going for a 1-gate expand, which I think is quite cool, as sometimes Protoss will see, hey, I'm up against MaxPax and a Terran, I better go double gate. SKillous is just keeping it cool as a cucumber and matching MaxPax, which I do like to see Protoss players try and do, but it's always difficult. A big scout by Elazer, or by MaxPax, pardon me, to realize that Elazer has yet to take a gas which means he's going for a quick third hatchery. There's literally no alternative for Zerg to go for unless it's a proxy hatch or something like that. Spirit is sending out an SCV, funnily enough. I wonder where this is going. Is it to build a starport? It looks like it's going to be to build a starport, so Spirit probably going to be going for a bit of a Hellion elevator play against his opponents. This is something that is high risk, but high reward, and Hellions are so strong in 2v2 because if you can't find success at one base, another base to try and harass is just around the corner. Pardon that second mute there. Probably a little bit TMI, but every time I sneeze, I gotta blow my nose, so. Now we do have an Oracle on the way for MaxPax, so going into Stargate once again. Looks like SKillous is going into the Blink, which seems to be the trend in these 2v2 games. MaxPax goes into air virtually every game, and then it kind of leaves his opponents like, do I want to fight MaxPax in air or go for Blink? And Blink may be a bit more versatile. It does give you the opportunity to find some damage because your opponents, of course, have less ground firepower. Now, it looks like Spirit is going for this Hellion elevator. The starport is already floating back home, but 4 Hellions are being elevated into the main base of SKillous, and Overlord does see this, but I'm not sure the reaction is quick enough, so probes are running for their sweet lives, but man, oh man, there is going to be casualties as Hellions are mainly uncontested right now. Elazer skipping Ling speed, delaying his gas, means he has virtually nothing to help his teammate with this. Drones are being pulled, but that's just not going to help out at all. It is chaos inside the base of SKillous and Elazer. Stalkers for SKillous are trying to respond to this, but the damage done was immense. Now drones at Elazer's third base are in trouble. The Zerg was trying to get ahead, cut corners, just go into mass economy by skipping his gas, but man oh man, Elazer is regretting that. He's yet to fire up speed. He does have 148 gas in the bank, but it is so problematic for the red team now. That was just massive amounts of damage. MaxPax is 45 workers to SKillous is 35. Spirit's 39 to Elazer's 33. 29 drones died for Elazer. 10 probes for SKillous. That is an absolute disaster for the red team. And yeah, they are just purely in a lot of trouble right now. We have got Stalkers blinking around for SKillous. They're going to need to pull a miracle out of their hat in order to win this game. I don't know whether that's just trying to get aggressive with the Stalkers or what. Elazer does fire up a lair. He has yet to spend his gas on anything that's really going to help him unit-wise. So I don't know what he's going to do with this lair. He's like, right, I need more gas if I'm going to use this lair for some sort of tech, which I can only assume will be maybe a Hydra Den. Elazer is firing up a lot more drones as this game goes on. If they can repel the Phoenix and be a little greedy, then there's always a chance for them to be able to play this out, but it is a disastrous position to play from for the red team. Elazer does pump out so many drones, and he actually commits to Aspire. So gonna try and counter the Phoenix of MaxPax, which is a very bold play, but maybe having, say, Mass Corruptors out could help out the team. The problem is, though, then it's going to be just SKillous' Stalkers pretty much against all of Spirit's bio, and Spirit has been getting away, just macroing. That little bit of harassment he went for definitely paid for itself. And now let's see, Phoenix 4, MaxPax are flying on in towards the natural base, going to kill off some more workers. There's only one Spore Crawler. The Spire is going to be revealed as well. Elazer was investing in another Spore. We do have a recall from MaxPax to get his Phoenix on out of there. I do like what Elazer is doing. He is squeezing out so many drones. He is being so greedy. Maybe realizing that MaxPax and Spirit are probably not going to be pushing out against them anytime soon. And then he's honestly just cutting corners. He's saying, right, MaxPax isn't going to kill all my drones with these Phoenix. He may kill quite a few, but then my teammate SKillous is going to help repel the Phoenix while he's just being so darn greedy. Like, Elazer has got 6 army supply right now. He's just relying on a Spore, his measly Queen, and his teammate SKillous to help him deal with the Phoenix. The Stalkers are out on the map for SKillous. They do got to be careful, though, as it is 12 Stalkers against 15 Phoenix. The Phoenix could potentially make a play. We do have a big drop being planned by Spirit. Looks like they're actually going to try and catch the Stalkers, having a feeling that these are out on the map, but it looks like SKillous was a little bit ahead of them and actually utilized a recall. We can check the Nexus, confirm that's on cooldown. And so it looks like that SKillous actually got a little bit ahead of their opponents there, bought themselves some nice time. Now Corruptors are on the way for Elazer, so that's going to be very big when it comes to helping to deal with these Phoenix, and it is quite a Corruptor count for Elazer thanks to that huge drone count. I mean, he's on 77 drones, where Spirit has been producing units off of 53. Corruptors do come on in, they're going to gobble up these Medivacs. The Stalkers of Skillous can probably deal with these Marines. It looks like it is going to be quite a bit of damage found, and MaxPax is actually just electing to try and kill all the Corruptors. However, the Corruptors do have the Stalkers to come on in to help them out. And so the red team absorbs quite a bit more damage there. Elazer has lost 51 drones this game, but he's still on 75, which just goes to show how greedy he's being. He's like, nope, I'm just going to ignore the problem, just keep swimming. Right now it is 7 Phoenix dead to 7 Corruptors, so not the best trade for the Zerg. And we do have MaxPax going into carriers, but Corruptors do counter carriers. Elazer behind this, he's getting +1 armor on the way for his flyers. That's going to help out. Meanwhile, Skillous is investing in Archons, Immortals, Charge Lots, and does have double Robo on the way, so that could be big for him. Things are going to get very bad for the red team, though, if this game goes on too long and MaxPax hits maxed out carriers, because that is not an easy thing to deal with. The Corruptor's head start for Elazer is definitely going to help him out. I mean, he's literally just got 18 Corruptors. He is making exclusively air units. He is the Zerg equivalent of MaxPax right now, who's just been going into air tech. MaxPax behind this, he does have up. Looks like both the Terran and the Zerg and the Protoss are on 4 bases. However, Elazer's on 4, so is SKillous is going up to 4. Elazer's actually getting up a 5th and a gold base, and man, oh man, this is a lot of Corruptors for the Zerg. I'm wondering if we need to see Parasitic Bomb or Vipers out for Elazer so these Corruptors can abduct units. Maybe a Greater Spire. He does invest in the Hive, which will help him out. He's also getting Muscular Augments to potentially make Hydras with this composition. And, I mean, Corruptors are the right counter to carriers. And until MaxPax gets out Psystorm, Mass Corruptors is actually pretty darn good. We've got the Corruptors grabbing one Phoenix, going to try and get another one. MaxPax, of course, can micro Phoenix very darn well. He's got Anion Pulse Crystals, but you turn those things the wrong direction for a second, and it's 1 unit dead, as the Corruptors definitely have outscaled the Phoenix at this point, 27 to 18. The 5 carriers, I mean, when it comes to a head-on fight, that will be a different story. We have got the Corruptors flying around. Look at that, a dead Phoenix, though. And MaxPax can try and micro this, but he's got to do a darn good job. And look at that, Corruptors are so good in StarCraft 2 in this day and age. Like, you can look at their move speeds, and it doesn't get listed on the tile cards, but they have got very quick acceleration, so Corruptors can turn around incredibly fast on a dime. Like, if you look at the old Wings of Liberty Corruptors or something, they are slow as ever. You'll say, what are these slow garbage units? So they really have been improved for Zerg, and when it comes to trying to micro against them with Phoenix, it's not an easy thing to do. We do have the Protoss and the Zerg moving on in. Elazer with strictly Corruptors in the sky to help out, and so that means Skillous needs to deal with all of Spirit's Marines, and Spirit is just on mass Marines against a primarily Colossus Archon army of Skillous, and that is pretty darn good against the Marines, although the Colossus, they get a little distracted by the planetary. Good micro in the Prism in order to keep that alive. The Corruptors are going to town on the carriers as they try and deal with the mass air of MaxPax. Ghosts are sniping for Spirit, but there's simply so many Corruptors, not to mention all the Protoss on the ground pushing forward, so MaxPax and Spirit are in a little bit of trouble. MaxPax's Phoenix, they can't lift up the Archons, which is a big win for the red team. Another carrier pops on out. It's misrallied, so that's going to die off. We've got Spirit making more bio, but the Marines definitely didn't do that well. I mean, there's Ghosts and Marines against Zealots and Colossus. It's actually not bad for the Protoss and Spirit. His supply has just plummeted, and we all know what happens when Terran sort of enters that death spiral. The Protoss loses a Nexus, so MaxPax may be in a bit of trouble. He's trying to make a Void Ray a carrier, but they really lost that sort of supply base they need in order to contend with this much Zerg and Protoss. Incredible fight for SKillous and Elazer for the most part. I just love how Elazer has been producing nothing but Corruptors this entire game. He's on 101 drones. He's playing Zerg perfectly. This is what every Zerg wants to do, is just spam. He just presses his hotkey, selects all his larvae, and is spamming the C button, getting upgrades. He wants to tries and caustic spray down that planetary fortress. It does not work out though, but man, MaxPax has lost 2 bases. Spirit has not lost all his bases yet, but supply-wise, the red team is doing much better than their opponents. Corruptors are still flying around. They can always caustic spray inside the main base. Spirit is repositioning his Marines to help out. We do have MaxPax making 4 Void Rays at a time, but it's not enough. Psystorm is being researched, but it's not done yet, and that may be the tool that was really lacking for MaxPax to help him against a pure Corruptor army. I don't know if MaxPax thought, okay, maybe I'll face some Hydras, that kind of thing. I can lift them up. My carriers will do fine. No, Elazer committed so hard to the Corruptors, and their synergy between the red team to allow this composition to work has been beautiful. SKillous is continuing to push on in. Stalker's blinking on top of the bio of Spirit, the heavily upgraded bio 2-2. But it looks like it's going to be enough for the red team to turn it around after losing so many drones in the early game. They just made perfect use of their time, and thus we've got a series on our hands. It is tied up 1-1. And so we are going into game number 3 between Elazer-SKillous, MaxPax, and Spirit. Okay, and here we go. Uno. In the bottom left, it's Elazer and SKillous, the man that made Corruptors. That seems the perfect way to deal with MaxPax's mass Phoenix shenanigans. If he didn't have SKillous to help him out, though, to help protect against the Phoenix in the early game, that would have been a lot worse. And it is just very awkward for Terran to move out with Phoenix cover. Like, you don't really see Phoenix Marine tank timings like the comp Spirit was building for. It's more of a defensive comp. And so, yeah, that's probably why they sat back longer than they did, or as long as they did, despite getting so much early game damage. That allowed Elazer to play Zerg perfectly and to macro out of it. 101 drones at the end of that match, probably despite losing like 70 in that game. So impressive. The mass Corruptors, that's the dream for Protoss. Elazer's like, all right, I got a big Protoss army to fall back on. It was really, really well done. SKillous sending in another scouting probe. As MaxPax returns the favor. It's always the Protoss that scout, which makes sense in 2v2. I think it's just kind of funny. Who scouts out a Terran and Zerg? I'm going to say probably the Terran, if I had to guess. Yellow Jacket is our map today. Those of you that play 2v2 should be familiar with these maps. We've got a 1-gate expand from both players. MaxPax gets a slightly earlier Nexus, just being a little bit greedier than his opponent. You may have seen that SKillous fired up a Zealot for a second, then canceled it. That delayed his Nexus a little bit. But it's still a 1-gate timing. But it just goes to show that MaxPax is a little bit greedy in the sense that he will go for any advantage he can possibly get. We have a Stargate on the way for MaxPax. We'll see if SKillous is going to go for the Twilight. Almost unsurprisingly, he goes for that. If a player plays Twilight in 2 games, they're probably not as comfortable with air, and that really lends to their playstyle, but you got to give it to MaxPax for how confident he is in Phoenix. Just, it doesn't work against a Zerg that's guarded by a Protoss that can just spam Corruptors. It's the perfect answer to MaxPax, And we'll see if Elazer and Skillous are able to pull that same thing off again, or whether that's going to prompt, say, MaxPax and Spirit to be more aggressive, potentially. We did see Spirit try and go for a double Medivac drop, but the Corruptors helped shut that down, and then there was enough Stalkers. So, yeah, maybe it's going to be a two-base timing from one of these teams, but all in all, incredible play from both teams, showing us that these are pro gamers that are doing quite a good job transferring their 1v1 skills into 2v2 with good team communication. Overlord scouting around for Elazer. Two of them. You will see the Oracle on its way out. That's going to give Elazer and Skillous the heads up of what's coming. Still, defending against potential shenanigans could be difficult. We do have two Adepts coming on in for MaxPax, looking for something. There is quite a nice ground army for Skillous, though. Two Stalkers and an Adept is plenty to defend. Now, positioning needs to be good from these players, but look at that beautiful Queen placement for Elazer. Another Queen heads back to the hatchery, tosses down an Inject, but may need to help zone that out. We do have Spirit, though, coming in with many, many Hellions once again. No trick drop this time inside the main base. There is Lings and Stalkers responding to the Adepts of MaxPax, which are picking off quite a few workers. So how much harassment was done there? All in all, 4 probes for 2 Adepts. And a Reaper. Spirit did get out with all his Hellions. He's going to try and come on in once again. We do have Skillous warping in Stalkers to deal with this. He's going to lose a few probes to some Hellion shots. He pulls up against the Hellions. A very risky play to clean that up. All in all, loses 2 more workers for all those Hellions. That is quite good for the red team. Solid defense. But as we saw in the previous game, they don't need a solid defense to win. There's a lot more factors in 2v2 to take into account. Composition and plan. We've got Spirit planning on going for more harassment, with double Cloak Banshee going to be the play from the Terrans, so changing it up a little bit. And then we have got MaxPax, notably going into Blink. He's not going into Mass Phoenix, so he's changing it up. And is going to try and, well, he might even catch his opponents off guard by this. They may just be thinking, MaxPax is building Phoenix. And oh, look at that, a showing of a Phoenix to just say, hey, there's a Phoenix out there. I'm probably making Mass Phoenix. In reality, there is no such attempt. Looks like the scouting Ling for Elazer will see the Stalkers of MaxPax. We do have that Ling running around. We'll see if the third base gets scouted. Thirds are up for both Protoss players. MaxPax cancels all his gases that he was building at that third base location, and he throws up some more gateways, so I wonder if he's just planning on going into charge right after this. Gonna delay the gas a little bit. We do have an Oracle coming on in that's gonna toss down a Stasis Ward and catches quite a few probes of Skillous. I mean, look at that, another one gonna get tossed down as well. That is a lot of lost mining time inside the main base of Skillous. So that Oracle and that Stargate investment is getting some value for the blue team. Now, things are still looking all right for Elazer and Skillous. Elazer is going into an infestation pit, a Hydra Den, so teching up rather heavily. The Zerg player is being incredibly greedy once again, I'll say. It's 6 minutes, 20 seconds into the game. He's at 74 drones. That is so much, which does make me a little bit concerned if MaxPax and Spirit are potentially going for a timing. As I say that, though, Spirit's got a third on the way up, investing in more racks, he's producing tanks, and MaxPax takes a fourth, so it looks like Elazer should get away with this greed. Skillous is investing in Immortals behind this. Both teams are kind of scouting out a decent amount. And let's see, cannons going up for MaxPax, so defense is on their mind a little bit, not just to try and all in and end this game. We have got Hydras now being produced for Elazer. Lurkers are definitely going to be a factor in this game, as he's got that Lurker Den building, and Lurkers are frankly good. We've got lots of Lings running around for Elazer out on the map, trying to maintain that map control, but MaxPax does have a boatload of Stalkers out, 18 Stalkers in all, so the red team is going to have to be careful not to give any free locations, any free pickoffs for those mass Stalkers, because MaxPax is so good with controlling them. He'll get a pickoff and then get on out. Elazer is pumping out a ridiculous amount of Hydras, notably lacking upgrades though, as there isn't a single Evo built for the Zerg, so probably going to be going for Lurkers, which might not be as upgrade heavy. That is actually quite interesting for Elazer, but man, oh man, he's on 85 drones. He is a happy macro Zerg in this match. He's getting out Seismic Spines, which does take a minute to upgrade. Double Evos are going up, but they are rather late. And so upgrade-wise, Elazer is a little bit behind. He's just going to have Ling Hydra against all these Stalkers. No attack upgrades, which really benefits Stalkers, or Hydras, pardon me. And look at this, in comes Spirit, so all of a sudden the red team is going to be on the defensive. SKillous is coming on in to help his teammate. They want to hold the concave of this ramp, and they're doing a pretty good job. The Lings of Elazer getting friendly fire tank shots onto the blue team. Hydras are skirmishing with the Stalkers. Still, Spirit has got 4 tanks at the back of this, which is going to pose a problem for the red team to try and clear this up. There is going to be charge lots from SKillous, though, to help out. We've got extended thermal lance about done for the red Protoss. Elazer fires up 5 Lurkers, which can definitely help force this into a bit of a stalemate. We do have Marines for Spirit. Where'd all those Banshees end up? They must have been insignificant. Although 21 workers died, so pardon my observing if I did miss some harassment due to those Banshees earlier in the match. So my apologies for that. Observing 2v2 can sometimes be a little bit tricky while you're commentating and observing. So now let's see, we do have a Warp Prism harassing for MaxPax. There's a Medivac for Spirit, so they are trying to keep pressure on multiple fronts. Looks like Elazer and SKillous are moving forward to try and break this location. It's a high-risk play. Lurkers are moving forward, going to be able to get those spines off on the army, and it is a cleanup to send their opponents packing. The drop goes into the main base of SKillous. He's got Stalkers to respond to that, but then there's also a drop. Zealots and Marines teaming up against SKillous. The Protoss player in the red actually taking a lot of damage here, it would seem, as he gets knocked down to 50 workers. Behind this, MaxPax is on 84 workers, Spirit's on 71. SKillous really takes a beating, having a hard time cleaning this up. As attacked for Spirit, he moves in, he snipes off a Nexus of Elazer. The red team really takes a beating. SKillous is feeling forced to push on in for an attack. Meanwhile, Elazer's Lurkers on the front lines were caught in a stasis ward. We've got Marines trying to pick off that Nexus. Looks like that will be cleaned on up. There's the Prism in the bottom left, though. That is an ever-permanent threat. The red team took a lot of damage, and they may be feeling the pressure to try and do something, but look at this. Spirit coming on in. Elazer going to lose all those precious Lurkers, and the great economy lead that they had is potentially getting whittled down a little bit after that harassment. And Elazer, I think, really needs to get some Lurkers, some more Lurkers, to help his teammate, because they really are something that bolsters up this army. A drop goes down for MaxPax. Once again, he's so good with the Prism. The double harassment factor applies in the sense that you got twice as many opportunities to get DTs and Zealots into your opponent's base. MaxPax and Spirit are pushing on in. There's no Lurkers present at either of these bases for Elazer. I think they're going to have to sack these locations to stay inside the game. This is so much firepower. All that Terran bio, and then just the Protoss force pushing forward. We've got a big drop for Spirit going inside the main base. There's really nothing to respond to that. Elazer and SKillous still have decent supplies. The army of Elazer is quite solid. He's moving on in for an attack. He's got 1-1 upgrades done, but there's still this drop inside his main base. He's got nothing to respond. SKillous and Elazer may be feeling forced into an all-in. Lurkers are moving forward for the Zerg. They need to get burrowed as soon as possible, and that's going to be difficult for their opponents to dislodge. However, I think SKillous needs to help out, and he is. He's engaging MaxPax to prevent MaxPax from cleaning this up. And Abduct goes down on a Colossus, and there's 3 Colossus out for SKillous. MaxPax knocked down to just 1, it would seem, so a very successful counter blow. But man, oh man, the harassment is doing so much work. This drop was not cleaned up. Elazer has lost all his tech. What does he have? He literally cannot make a unit, and he's floating so much money. I think he's going to have to start feeding his teammate because he doesn't have the production. Supply-wise, the red team is down. That's why they felt so pressured to go for this attack in the first place. Lurkers are moving forward, burrowing into the ground. However, looks like MaxPax and Spirit are going to group up to shut this down. There's no Archons on top of the Lurkers in time to help clean this up. It's a nice concave for the blue team, but Spirit has lost most of his army, loses a tank. There is still 1 Lurker remaining in the ground. Every unit matters, but still, the drop goes off inside the main base. SKillous deals with, he loses 5 gateways, 8 gateways unpowered. That's pretty much all the Protoss production. It is all the Protoss production. They are 100% all in. done in this situation, and the red team is trying to make it happen. There's 3 Archons present, but so many Zealots come in for MaxPax. I don't even know how many that is, but the man has gateways that certainly are powered. Colossus getting swipes off. It's a big fight, but Elazer and Skillous are just undone over what is a very, very long, drawn-out drop, as the multitasking of MaxPax and Spirit really was able to just bring down Elazer. Elazer lost all his production. Skillous lost all his production, and that was that. Any hope of playing that game out was just gone from there. They chose to ignore that, which is understandable. Base races happen, but like one warp in from Skillous would have potentially cleaned that up or forced Spirit out, and then they could have stabilized a little bit, but stabilizing would have been very hard. I mean, Elazer lost these 2 bases. He lost this one, apparently, and Skillous lost this base as well, so the harassment was next level by MaxPax and Spirit. It really forced the hand and won the game. A very dicey position. Maybe if Elazer and Skillous controlled their army a little bit differently, they could have won. But all in all, it was a very exciting best of 5 between these players. Best of 3, pardon me. I certainly enjoyed casting it. And big thanks to you, Thermal, for putting on this 2v2 circuit. He's doing, I believe, monthly cups, which is really darn exciting. And he's building to a big grand finals for 2v2. He's doing wonders for the scene. It's been a while since we had a 2v2 cup this big. And so, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this one, you watched all the way to the end, click that like button, leave a comment down below saying more 2v2. Let me know who your favorite player is. Anything helps with the YouTube algorithm. Will StarCraft 3 ever be released or be at EWC? It doesn't really matter. It all helps. And then, yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you next time.